Remember, there's some pretty important information here in the disclaimer. You might want to give the video a quick pause and read it.
Hello everyone, this is Wake Angel 2001 coming at you with another custom figure. Yeah, the Mau Mau was just something I was doing as filler while I was waiting for something to come in the mail. But this is what I've actually been working on for quite a while. It is a movie-styled Amy Rose figure. Yeah, this is gonna be super fun. Was everyone else just excited to see her in that mid-credit sequence as I was? Cause, like, where I was sitting, like, the entire audience just completely blew its goddamn mind. Like, I never heard such loud cheering. Like, not even in any of the Marvel movies, like with the Avengers. I never actually saw such an enthusiastic response. But I digress. Let's actually get to this. Alright, so the heart and soul of this custom is Stegosaurus's 3D model of Amy Rose and her hammer. He made it shortly after the credit reveal. I'm pretty sure he did it relatively quickly. I don't remember exactly when, but suffice to say, he like the movie barely had a chance to reveal it before he was going ahead and making it. So I got his model and 3D printed it myself. You see it's made out of this green plastic, which it's the same plastic I was using to make my Chaos Emeralds. Again, this funnily enough, this is just an experiment I was doing on my new printer to see if it could make more detailed things, and hey, look at that. It can make more detailed things. So, once I had the head, I just had to paint it. I used my airbrush for the pink parts of her fur, and then regular dry brushing techniques to do the details, like her eyes, muzzle, and the hairband. And I was kind of satisfied to have this head for a little while. So it was just kind of sitting around like, hey, look at me, I made a movie Amy head. But then I had other stuff to do until I realized that my aunt had given me an extra Black Rose figure as a Christmas present. I'm like, oh, hey, now that I have this extra figure of a 5-inch scaled Amy Rose, I have a body that I can use to make the movie Amy properly. So yes, Black Rose is going to be my base. And there's one thing that I haven't been able to find a way to remove the heads from these things without just straight up destroying the pin disc inside of them. So I unfortunately had to tear that part off. But aside from that, the body dismantles fairly well. Everything comes apart except for the hips and shoulders, which are stuck into a torso that's made out of hard plastic. I also would have to sand away body details like the belt buckle and some details on her shirt because, you know, it's something that it's super hard. I can't just cut it off with an X-Acto knife. And then I started to sculpt over. This is something that took a couple of sculpting layers because I had to transform I want to say the coat. Yeah, she has a coat with coattails that go around her, and I needed to turn this into her dress. Oh yeah, now would be a good time to talk about what I'm actually making this Amy look like. Because in the movie, we only ever see her wearing the cloak. And when Stegosaurus made his own custom of her, that's what he did. He did a very good Amy Rose figure wearing the cloak, just like in the mid-credits sequence. But there's a dirty little secret to this figure. She's naked. Yes, when he made his custom, he used a movie shadow figure as the base body, and aside from painting it pink and changing the gloves and shoes, he didn't actually do anything to replicate an outfit. Like, her cloak is the outfit. Underneath is just a pink body. I, on the other hand, decided that, I made this decision before he made his figure because I did start work on this before he released his, but I had the idea of using the reference from this leaked concept art showing Amy Rose wearing a game-accurate outfit as what would be the base for my custom. So my custom is actually going to be wearing the clothes that she wears, which is pretty much just a stylized version of her dress from the games. I think the only big difference is that the dress doesn't like stick out like a big old cone. It just kind of, hangs on her hips the way a regular skirt would. So yes, like I was saying, this is where the sculpting truly begins. First, I just kind of made this thing to close the ridge in the front. And then that's when I had a revelation. Stegosaurus, by this point, Stegosaurus had put out his custom and had done a whole big thing, but that's when I discovered this. Let's cut over to some video feed instead of just this voiceover. Okay, this part of the video is specifically for Stegosaurus himself. Stegosaurus, you were the one who made this head. I printed it on my 3D printer, but I did no resizing of the model at all. This is exactly how you had it in, like, you know, the data. And you had this hole pre-made in the neck. I'm filming this a few hours after I watched your video on your own custom figure, and there was this whole thing you went through about making the neck peg work on your head. I just wanted to point out that this is the body. And unfortunately, there's really no way to take the head off without breaking it, but this is the pin disc, the ring for the pin disc that holds the original head on. And I would like to point out that this pin disc goes directly into the peg hole that you made, and it fits nearly perfectly. Like, it's the exact same diameter. Is this what you actually did? Was this intentional? Like, I figured if it was intentional, then you would have used a prime body as the base for your custom, right? Like, I just wanted you to know specifically that this connection is just so ridiculously perfect. Like, I have no idea how this was unintentional. Okay, now we're going to get into the rest of the build. So yeah, wasn't that incredible? Like, I'm almost certain that Stegosaurus had no idea that it would work out that way when he made this neck peg hole, but it's just hilarious how much it worked. For the record, I did make the connection a little bit tighter, but like a super simple way. I just put a single layer of tissue paper through the ring, and that increased the thickness just enough that the head holds on a little bit more snugly. So even if I want to shake it around, it's not going to fall off. But if I have to, I can easily pop it off without anything getting damaged. Okay, so now on to the rest of the sculpting. This was actually the most difficult part of the build, because like you have to sculpt a cone that is essentially, for a time at least, supporting its own weight. And you gotta be really careful not to have it collapse under itself. This was actually a pretty, it was a pretty involved thing, which involved several layers, like an initial layer to give the cone something to anchor onto, then another layer on top of that to make the cone actually look smooth, so that it doesn't just look like a lumpy mess. But in the end, I was able to get myself an Amy Rose dress out of this. And when I was looking at it, I just kind of realized, by complete accident and coincidence, this looks a lot like the Resaurus Amy Rose figure. Yeah, whoever expected me to reference Resaurus again, huh? Like the original Sonic Adventure figure from like frickin' 1998 or 1999 or whenever they made them. Like, that's going way back. But yeah, the shape is there, isn't it? Looks just like it. Who would have thought that Resaurus was making a movie Amy figure over 25 years before the movie actually came out, huh? Alright, so then we move on. The rest of the body is pretty much just a repaint. I didn't really do a lot of alterations to the sculpt here. Fortunately, the little bit of glove cuff coming out behind the ring is actually accurate to the way she looked in the movie. But the shoes, I admit, I just took the Thorn Rose shoes and painted them. Although, I did have one little indulgence. The little bit of her pantaloons that you can see way up at the top, I painted them white to make it look like she's wearing a pair of Bloomer-style panties. I mean, the Amy Rose is always so infamous for having panty shots, so I figured, hey, why don't I show my little solution to that by just, not having them look so much like panties. Yeah, she's just wearing little white shorts underneath her dress. That's fine. They're white so that they match the internal lining of her dress. And with that, we have an Amy Rose figure that's essentially complete, but she doesn't have any accessories yet. So here's concept art Amy Rose, retaining all the posability that the original Sonic Prime figure had. It's not quite as articulated as the movie figures, but it's a little bit better than the articulation you get from the 4-inch line. So, there's that. But Stegosaurus didn't only make her head, he also made her hammer. By this point, I had to specifically request that he send me the hammer because while he originally had these models publicly released, there were people who were downloading them and then re-uploading them on pay sites, which really pissed him off. So he's switched over to a new model where he wants to have a chance to vet the people that download his models. So, you know, he has a contact information on his YouTube channel if you want to ask him for his models, but yeah, like some people ruined it for the rest of us. So here is my 3D print of his hammer and all of its various parts. It's very detailed. I could never make something like this in Tinkercad. And everything is painted up. I did my best to imitate the way that he painted it. I even used a little bit of brown paint on the seams of the gold parts to make it look like, you know, like there are parts of the hammer that she keeps polished and clean, but there are little crannies inside that she can't really get into. So that's where some of the oxidation occurs, you know, a little bit more realistic. And it assembles, and it's nice that this is a good solid build, but because of the way he made it, it's hollow inside, so it's lightweight and won't throw the figure off balance. So this is something that my Amy figure can still hold. He made the handle so that the articulated fingers of the movie toy would be able to hold it, but it does go into the holding thing hands of the Prime figure decently well, so it still works out. So now that she has her weapon, she just needs the last thing from that iconic moment in the mid-credit sequence, being her cloak. Now, I wish I could tell you that I went through a big complicated thing to make a customized cloak for my Amy figure, but you all know how much I hate working with soft goods, so I just ordered this thing off of AliExpress. Yeah, it was only $5, another $5 for shipping, so $10 basically. And it's an action figure cloak that's specifically designed to be put onto figures that are about 6 inches tall. It actually specifically says that it's really good for Marvel Legends or Transformers figures. I guess if you want to replicate that one time that Drift was trying to pass himself off as an organic alien, like I remember that comic. It came packed with one of the figures, I believe. But anyway, yeah, this cloak just goes on to Amy Rose. I really didn't do anything to it, and it's kind of way too long, but it still works. It's a cloak for Amy. Of course, she can't actually wear the hood. The hood doesn't even really open. It's just there as decoration. But it has a convenient button snap on the front, so you can actually take it easily on and off the figure without having to do a whole bunch of kajiggering. But with that, we have an Amy Rose that is well capable of wielding the hammer and doing it while she has the cloak on. So, you know, that's it. That's pretty much everything that we would want a movie-styled Amy Rose figure to do. I think when we eventually do get an actual official figure of her, she probably isn't going to have the cloak because I'm guessing it's something that she's going to shuck in a very early scene in Sonic 4 if she even has it. In fact, a part of me thinks that they might retcon the introduction a little bit. A very small part of me wants Amy Rose to initially come in with an outfit that's kind of similar to classic Amy, you know, with a white shirt with like the little orange frilly dress, but it's going to be a little bit threadbare and torn because she's been through a lot of action with it. So when Sonic takes her home, like Maddie is gonna like give her one of her niece's old dresses, like, you know, the same niece that gave Sonic his shoes. Like he'll give Amy one of her old dresses, and it's gonna be like this red dress with the collar. Like that's what I kind of want to see happen in Sonic 4, but you know, that's just me. Alright, so thank you all for watching this video, and let's have Sonic take us out like he always does.
Oh, hey everybody, it's me, Sonic the Hedgehog. Just here to remind you that if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button. And for even more amazing customs, don't forget to subscribe to Wake Angel 2001, because between you and me, they're way past cool.